And our Sunrise Smart Start, jurors in the Brighton axe murder trial convicting James Krausneck of second-degree murder in the 1982 murder of his wife, Kathy Krausneck.
The guilty verdict announced before a packed courtroom was the closure that Kathy Krausneck's family said they've been waiting for 40 years. The defense, on the other hand, believes they will win on appeal. The case received new scrutiny by prosecutors in 2015 after a review of the evidence. Police maintain the initial signs of burglary were staged. That, coupled with new technology, made Krausneck their lead suspect. He is scheduled to be sentenced on November 7th.
Well, new this morning around 11:15 last night, Rochester police responding to the intersection of Glide Street and Burgeon Street for a two-vehicle crash. Both drivers were uninjured, though a passenger in one of the cars, a 22-year-old female, was transported to the hospital where she is currently being treated for her injuries that are considered to be serious and life-threatening. Alcohol and drugs have been ruled out as a factor, and no traffic tickets have been issued at this time.
And the city of Rochester's 62nd murder to date has been identified as retired police officer William Keith Booker. Police say he was 50 years old when he was shot and killed overnight Saturday. They say he was found with a gunshot wound on Jefferson Avenue. His car also hit a parked and unoccupied car nearby, though police have yet to determine if he hit the car or was shot first. We're told Booker served in the police department from 1996 until he retired in 2017, and he spent 10 years as a school resource officer at Franklin High.
Rochester police are searching for family members of a homeless man who was killed on Wednesday. Police tell us 40-year-old Carlos Roman Morales was shot while walking down the 100 block of Weaver Street. No motive has been released yet, but we are told Roman Morales was well known and well liked in the neighborhood for helping with odd jobs. Investigators have not been able to find or get in contact with any of his family members.
Rochester police also giving an update on the murder last week on Mazda Terrace. They say 40-year-old Lamar Brandon Casavoy has been identified as the man shot and killed Thursday night, and they say it was the result of an argument. Police are asking that anyone with information call 911.
Now for some international news. In central Russia, a gunman shot and killed 17 people, including 11 children, and wounded 24 others before shooting himself, authorities say. Russian investigators say the 34-year-old gunman was a graduate of the same school and was wearing a black T-shirt bearing Nazi symbols. They also released evidence from the scene which they say references the Columbine massacre in the U.S., with keychains attached to two pistols with the names Dylan and Eric and the word Columbine. Another photo shows cartridges of ammunition piled on a classroom desk with the Russian word for hate written on them. Russian President Vladimir Putin denounced the shooting as, quote, an inhuman terrorist attack.
And now for some national news. Hurricane Ian passing over the west end of Cuba this morning, drenching the island with heavy rains and a storm surge that could be up to 14 feet high. Up and down the west coast of Florida, people are bracing for the arrival of Hurricane Ian. Ian has grown significantly in the last 24 hours and is expected to develop into a Category 4 hurricane with 140-mile-per-hour winds. It's been more than a century since a major hurricane directly hit Tampa Bay, but officials are saying the region's luck may have run out. Well, 7 million miles from Earth, a NASA spacecraft titled DART rammed into an asteroid at blistering speed.
This is the first real-world test of humanity's ability to nudge a threatening body off course before it could crash into Earth. This galactic slam was with an asteroid that posed no threat to the planet. The asteroid in question, Dimorphos, is actually a moon orbiting a 2,500-foot wide asteroid named Didymos. Researchers expect the crash to shorten the asteroid's orbital period by about 10 minutes, but it will take a few days or weeks to make measurements needed to nail down that number. Very cool, though, isn't that?
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, my favorite part is that it's an asteroid with another asteroid orbiting it.
Right.
That we crashed into. Cool. I think this adds to the whole complicatedness of it. Now, speaking of complicated, That's today's forecast, basically. We're still dealing with all this kind of mess and rinse and repeat stuff that we've been dealing with the past couple of days. So we're talking showers in the morning, showers at lunch, showers for dinner, and that's basically where we're going to be settling in throughout the majority of the day here. I do think that coverage is definitely going to start to increase a little bit more anywhere past about 12 p.m. today. So as we get into that second half of the day, we'll start to see shower coverage increase, and especially by late tonight, we're going to see a pretty decent dose before things start to dry out into tomorrow.
All right, Liam, thank you. One last check of the roads this morning. Still no accidents to report out there. Everything is looking good. 390, 490, 590 are running on time, but we'll keep you updated as the morning continues.
News 8 is your local election headquarters. Two candidates are trying to cover a lot of ground in our area and beyond as they try to capture votes in the newly formed 24th Congressional District.
The district stretches from Watertown to Penn Yan and over to western New York, geographically the largest district in New York State, packed with agriculture. Christian Garzone breaks down what this all means for Republican Congresswoman Claudia Tenney and Democratic candidate Stephen Holden.
The whole 24th District, says Congresswoman Claudia Tenney, is critical for our food supply and the economy. This will be the largest dairy district in the entire Northeast, but that's not all.
It is also, we think, the largest agricultural district in the Northeast.
Farming jobs for her are a major priority.
And a lot of the policies coming from Albany have made it nearly impossible for farmers to really thrive and grow.
Stephen Holden is the Democratic challenger running against Tenney. He's originally from a dairy farm in Oklahoma. He is also big on agriculture and jobs.
This is my first foray into it. We were supposed to run in 2018. Some things came up with my military career.
As an Army veteran, he's passionate about veterans' issues. He also wants to make clear he supports the Second Amendment, but when it comes to guns,
I understand what belongs in the general populace and what doesn't.
Tenney says gun laws in New York have become unconstitutional. On reproductive rights, Tenney says she's pro-life and New York is protected.
You can get an abortion in New York up to the moment of birth,
provided there are medical issues. Holden says on state and federal levels, stay out.
Government should have no business in the personal and medical decisions of women.
For Tenney, beyond abortion, she says these issues are truly what impact New Yorkers.
They care about inflation, they care about the cost of gas, they care about crime in our communities.
For Holden, he says his top issue is protecting democracy.
So whether it be the rule of law or protecting elections.
For News 8, this is Christian Garzone.
Christian, thank you. To learn more about Tenney and Holden and where they stand, just head over to our website, rochesterfirst.com.
And right here on News 8, we'll be hosting a debate for the 25th District with Congressman Joe Morelli and LaRon Singletary at 7 p.m. next Monday.
Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau signing off on dropping the vaccine requirement for those crossing the border, which will take effect in a matter of days. Trudeau says the mandate will be dropped by the start of October. This also includes the use of the Arrive Can app, which provided proof of vaccination. Canada currently requires foreign travelers to be vaccinated upon entry, and unvaccinated individuals have to be tested on arrival with a previous 14-day quarantine.
Time now for the GRE Morning Business Report. The government's antitrust lawsuit against American Airlines and JetBlue begins today. The Justice Department and 6 states are suing the airlines to break up their partnership in the Northeast. The airlines argue the partnership has been in place for 18 months and allowed the airlines to offer new routes that would not be economical for either on its own, and there is no evidence the deal is harming consumers. The government, though, is arguing the alliance will reduce competition and lead to higher fares.
And Elon Musk's questioning was postponed to a future date in the lawsuit over whether he has to follow through with his agreement to purchase Twitter. Court watchers say postponement is not unusual ahead of major pretrial hearings. Both Musk and Twitter's CEO were expected to answer questions by opposing lawyers to determine who is at fault.
Here's what some people might be talking about at the water cooler this morning. Spoil tips, bony piles, or slag heaps are piles built of accumulated spoil, waste material removed during mining. The latest trend on these piles is wine growing, a new climate-induced activity in one of France's traditionally cold climates. The vines were planted 10 years ago in the first bottles of Chardonnay wine, a play on the world for the famous Chardonnay grape variety. As charbon means coal in French, those were sold in 2018. Now with the heat this year, production should almost triple compared to last year.
Allie,
Something I want to try.
Yeah, I was going to say you like some wine. Would you try it?
I think so. I think I'd give it a shot. Why not, right?
I mean, it's all going to a good cause. The more that we can encourage using that land that's been, used for mining into something more productive now as it transitions away, I think it's all a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd give it a shot. Liam, you?
100%, yeah. I'm always a sucker for a good glass of wine.
There we go. Might need a glass of wine on this rainy Tuesday.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit of an evening glass of wine. Maybe not the morning, maybe a little bit later in the day, but definitely some showers around. That'll be something we're keeping an eye out for throughout the daytime here. We're going to notice, though, coverage isn't as widespread as it was yesterday as we get into the rest of the daytime here. We'll pick up a little bit afternoon, so you start to see maybe some better chances for some widespread and steadier rain towards this evening. And then especially late tonight, that's when we're going to see everything begin to dive down and begin to get a little bit more widespread.
All right, Liam, thank you. And thanks for watching News 8 at Sunrise.
Our next update is coming up in 30 minutes. CBS Mornings is next.